The 1970s were the last frontier of mechanical freedom. Before regulations suffocated the engine, steel was molded with soul and gasoline. If you have one of these 14 specimens in your garage, you own more than just a vehicle. You have a financial asset more stable than gold. Do not make the mistake of trading them for a handful of bills. These machines are statements of principles that will never be manufactured again. Once they are gone, recovering them is impossible, especially all those that appear on this list, so let's get started. Number 14. Pontiac Firebird Formula 400. Often overshadowed by its more famous sibling, the Trans Am with the enormous Firebird on the hood, the Firebird Formula 400 of 1971 is the best-kept secret of smart collectors. While the Trans Am screamed for attention, the Formula was the connoisseur's choice who sought pure performance without excessive visual spectacle. Its most distinctive feature is the two functional air scoops on the hood that feed directly into the enormous 6.6-liter engine. This vehicle represents the peak of Pontiac's performance before compression ratios dropped drastically. The 400 engine is known for its massive torque that can move the body with astonishing ease. In today's market, these cars are seeing an exponential increase in value because buyers have finally understood that they are much rarer than conventional Trans Ams. A Formula 400 with its original paint and matching engine is an investment piece that offers an analog driving experience that no modern sports car can replicate. Selling one now would be parting with one of the best handling platforms Detroit ever produced. Number 13. Datsun 240 Zeta. While the United States struggled with increasingly larger and heavier engines, a revolution arrived from Japan that changed the perception of sports cars forever. The Datsun 240 Zeta of 1973 is Japanese perfection with an inline 6-cylinder heart. It was the car that showed you could have reliability, European style, and precise handling without having to spend a fortune on a Jaguar or a Porsche. What makes the 240 Zeta a treasure that must be protected is its purity. The L-Series engine is legendary for its durability and its ability to rev with a skin-prickling melody. These cars suffered a lot from rust in their time, which means finding a solid unit today is like finding a needle in a haystack. Prices have gone from affordable to reaching 6-digit figures in high-level auctions for units in Concours condition. If you own one, you hold in your hands the symbol of the birth of Japanese dominance in sports motoring. It is a car that feels light, connected, and extremely rewarding to drive on a winding road. Number 12. Plymouth Roadrunner. 1971 was the year the Dodge Charger transformed from a straight-lined warrior into an aerodynamic sculpture with curves that seemed to be taken from a fighter jet. The fuselage-style body design was a risky gamble by Chrysler that ended up creating one of the most visually stunning cars of all time. With its wraparound front bumper and elevated waistline, the 71 Charger looked fast even when parked at a traffic light. This is a car that should never leave your garage because it represents the climax of the high-performance car era before the Great Crisis. If you are lucky enough to own one with the 440 Magnum engine, or even better, the mythical Hemi engine of 426 cubic inches, you have a mechanical relic that is basically a blank check. The architecture of these engines is so robust that they are still used as the basis for modern quarter-mile competition engines. This year's Charger is not only an investment piece, it is a visceral experience. The way the rear suspension sags under the power of the torque and the guttural sound emanating from its dual exhausts is something that new generations can only experience in simulators. It is a car with soul, with character, and with a presence that intimidates any modern vehicle that tries to get next to it. Number 11. Chevrolet Monte Carlo First Generation. Launched to the market in 1970, the Monte Carlo was Chevrolet's answer to the personal luxury market. It was designed for the man who wanted the power of a Chevelle, but with the sophistication of a Cadillac. Its hood is one of the longest in the brand's history, specifically designed to house large engines while the driver enjoyed a quiet and refined interior. The reason you shouldn't sell a Monte Carlo from 1970 to 1972 is its versatility and robust construction. It's a car that can be an extremely comfortable luxury cruiser today and a track monster tomorrow if you decide to modify its small block or big block engine. The quality of the interior materials was superior to many of its contemporaries, and its value has started to climb as Chevelles have become unattainable for the average buyer. It is the perfect balance between elegance and aggressiveness. To own one is to have the standard of what personal success meant in the 1970s. It is an investment you can drive every Sunday with the certainty that its price will only go in one direction, and that is up. Number 10. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme of 1972. In the early 1970s, the Oldsmobile Cutlass was not just a car, it was a cultural phenomenon. In 1972, this model established itself as one of the best-selling vehicles throughout the United States, and it was no coincidence. The Cutlass Supreme offered a perfect blend of high-performance car aggression and luxury lounge sophistication. Its design with soda bottle lines and muscular fenders gave it a road presence that few could match. What makes the 1972 model a piece you must preserve at all costs is its mechanical balance. It was equipped with Oldsmobile's V8 350 cubic inch engine, which, unlike engines from other brands, was built with a high-strength nickel block, making it incredibly durable and smooth. The interior was a display of comfort, with high-quality vinyl bucket seats and a dashboard that looked like it came from a private jet of the era. Currently, collectors are paying considerable sums for units that maintain their original configuration, especially convertible models or those with the performance package. It is a car that represents stability and success, and its value in the classic market is soaring due to its increasing scarcity in optimal conditions. Number 9. Ford Torino of 1972. The Ford Torino of 1972 marked a radical change in Ford's aesthetic. With its enormous shark-mouth front grille and a much wider and lower body than its predecessors, the Torino instantly became a visual icon. It was the car that took the body-on-frame concept to a new level of isolation and comfort, providing a ride that felt substantial and powerful. You should not sell a Torino from this year because it is the foundation of one of the greatest legends of pop culture. But beyond the fame, it is a gem of Ford engineering. The Gran Torino Sport model with its fastback roof is one of the most beautiful silhouettes ever created in Detroit. Under the hood, you could find anything from the reliable 351 Cleveland engine to the monstrous 429 big block. These engines are famous for their ability to generate horsepower with minimal modifications. Finding a Torino that has not been drastically modified is extremely difficult today, which turns original units into gold mines on wheels. It is a vehicle that exudes authority and that, with each passing year, becomes more desired by those seeking the authentic experience of a grand American touring car. Number 8. Chevrolet Impala Custom Coupe of 1973. The Impala of 1973 is the last giant of an era of wonderful excesses. It was one of the last years before 5-mile-per-hour bumpers and emission restrictions forever changed the appearance of American cars. The custom coupe model is especially valuable for its unique roofline, which it shared with the Caprice, giving it a much more formal and elegant look than the rest of the range. This car is a jewel that must be protected for its unparalleled ride quality. With a generous wheelbase and a suspension designed to absorb any imperfection of the asphalt, driving a 73 Impala is the closest thing to floating on a cloud of steel. The 454 big block engine was still available this year, offering torque that could move this 2-ton colossus with astonishing ease. Unlike sportier models that were often mistreated, many of these Impalas were cared for by owners who valued comfort, which means survivors can still be found in incredible states. Selling an Impala of this caliber is getting rid of a level of refinement and presence that modern plastic will never be able to match. It is the final testament to an era where size and luxury were the measure of man on the road. With these specimens, we have covered the first great half of our journey through the excellence of the 1970s. Each of these machines has shown that time is not an enemy but a judge that only increases respect for a job well done. But we have not yet reached the top. What comes next are the vehicles that defined concepts, that broke records, and that today are considered true works of art in motion. Cars that are not only financial investments, but mechanical legacies that define a collector's passion. Get ready to enter the territory of absolute legends, where every detail counts and where value is no longer measured in thousands, but in the exclusivity of owning something that the rest of the world can only dream of looking at. Number 7. Lincoln Continental Mark IV of 1972. If there were a monument to excess and sovereign elegance on four wheels, that would undoubtedly be the Lincoln Continental Mark IV of 1972. This vehicle was not driven, it was navigated. With a length that challenged any conventional parking space, the Mark IV represented the pinnacle of personal prestige in the American automotive industry. Its design was unmistakable thanks to the enormous Rolls-Royce-style radiator grille and the iconic opera windows on the rear pillar, a detail that became the hallmark of the upper class throughout the decade. You should not sell a Lincoln of 1972 because it is the last of its kind to offer the V8 engine of 460 cubic inches in its purest state before federal restrictions choked it. This engine is a force of nature capable of moving over 2 tons of weight with a smoothness that makes you forget you are displacing an iron fortress. The interior is a sanctuary of silence, with carpets so deep you could lose your keys in them and seats upholstered in the finest fabrics or in leather of a quality that today is only found in exclusive designer furniture. To own this car is to own a time capsule that isolates you from the chaos of the outside world. In today's market, examples with low mileage and original paint are reaching astronomical collector values, as enthusiasts have rediscovered that there is nothing in modern production that can replicate that feeling of floating over the pavement. Number 6, Dodge Charger of 1971. 1971 was the year the Dodge Charger transformed from a straight-line warrior into an aerodynamic sculpture with curves that seemed to be taken from a fighter jet. The fuselage-style body design was a risky gamble by Chrysler that ended up creating one of the most visually stunning cars of all time. With its wraparound front bumper and elevated waistline, the 71 Charger looked fast even when parked at a traffic light. This is a car that should never leave your garage because it represents the climax of the high-performance car era before the Great Crisis. If you are lucky enough to own one with the 440 Magnum engine, or even better, the mythical Hemi engine of 426 cubic inches, you have a mechanical relic that is basically a blank check. The architecture of these engines is so robust that they are still used as the basis for modern quarter-mile competition engines. This year's Charger is not only an investment piece, it is a visceral experience. The way the rear suspension sags under the power of the torque and the guttural sound emanating from its dual exhausts is something that new generations can only experience in simulators. It is a car with soul, with character, and with a presence that intimidates any modern vehicle that tries to get next to it. Number 5, Chevrolet Monte Carlo of 1970. When Chevrolet introduced the Monte Carlo in 1970, its goal was clear: to offer the luxury of a Cadillac with the sporty spirit of a Chevelle. The result was a resounding success. The 1970 Monte Carlo was distinguished by having the longest hood in the brand's history, which gave it majestic proportions and a perfect visual balance. It was the car of the man who had worked hard and wanted the world to know it, but without being ostentatious in a vulgar way. You must keep this vehicle for its exceptional build quality. The Monte Carlo's chassis was reinforced to provide rigidity that eliminated the noises and vibrations common in other cars of the era. Under that endless hood, the 402 engine or the legendary 454 big block converted this luxurious cruiser into a highway predator. The dashboard with real elmwood inlays and chrome details on every switch demonstrate an attention to detail that has been lost today in favor of cheap plastic. The 1970 Monte Carlo is a safe bet in any collection. Its price has maintained a steady ascent for the last 10 years, especially for versions with the high-performance package, as they represent the ideal combination between the brute force of a race car and the composure of a gala car. Number 4, Plymouth Roadrunner of 1970. The Plymouth Roadrunner of 1970 is perhaps the purest example of what a high-performance car meant in its most honest form. While other manufacturers focused on adding unnecessary weight and accessories, Plymouth remained true to the idea that a fast car should be simple and effective. The 1970 model is especially coveted for its redesigned front end with the sunken grille and for the introduction of the air grabber induction system, a hood scoop that opened to a vacuum to feed the enormous carburetors. Never sell a Roadrunner of this year because it is one of the most charismatic machines ever built. From the sound of its horn that imitates the famous cartoon character to the Hurst pistol grip shifter, every inch of this car is designed to make you smile. Mechanically, it's a tank. Chrysler's B and RB series engines are known to be almost indestructible, and their ease of maintenance makes them ideal for the collector who enjoys getting their hands dirty. The market for these cars has recently exploded. An original Roadrunner with its vibrant high-impact paint and authentic decals is a museum piece that guarantees you will be the center of attention at any exhibition. It is the ultimate reminder of an era when the automotive industry was not afraid to have fun and break established rules. Number 3, Ford Mustang Mach-1 of 1970. The Ford Mustang Mach-1 of 1970 is the very definition of refined aggressiveness. After the overwhelming success of the 60s, Ford needed to consolidate the Mustang as a true contender in the high-performance car market, and the 70 model achieved this with absolute mastery. With its sloping rear design, known as a fastback, and its iconic side scoops, the Mach-1 projected an image of pure speed. It was the year Ford abandoned the quadruple headlights for a cleaner two-headlight design, integrating air intakes where the outer lights once were, creating a front look that seems to stalk its prey on the asphalt. This is a vehicle you should never let go of because of the historical importance of its engineering. The Cleveland 351 V8 engine is, for many experts, one of the best engines to come out of the Detroit plants. Its free-flowing cylinder head design allowed it to breathe in a way that other engines of similar size could only dream of. The interior of the Mach-1, with its vinyl-woven bucket seats and wood center console, offers a cockpit atmosphere of the era. It is not just an object of desire, it is an extremely solid financial investment. Original Mustang Mach-1s, especially those that retain their factory components, have seen an increase in value that far exceeds most traditional investment funds. It is a car that gives you satisfaction every time you step on the accelerator and security every time you check its value in the auction market. Number 2. Pontiac Firebird Trans Am of 1973. If there is one car that embodies the rebellion and untamed power of the 70s, it is the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am of 1973. While other brands began to reduce power due to new emissions regulations, Pontiac made a statement with the Super Duty 455 engine. This engine was essentially a racing power plant disguised for the street, with forged aluminum pistons and a reinforced block that could withstand incredible levels of punishment. Visually, the 73 Trans Am is a work of art with its enormous Firebird decal on the hood and its widened fenders that give it a wide and menacing stance. You must keep this car because it is the last great warrior of the big block engine era. The 73 Super Duty is an extremely rare collector's item, with only a few units produced, making it the holy grail for Pontiac enthusiasts. The driving experience is raw and mechanical. You can feel every explosion inside the cylinders through the steering wheel and the seat. There are no electronic aids that get between you and the machine. In the investment world, a Trans Am of this year is a museum piece that only tends to go up in price. It is a symbol of cultural resistance, a car that refused to be tamed and that today, 50 years later, remains the absolute king of any road it chooses to travel. Number 1. Chevrolet Chevelle Supersport of 1970. We have reached the top, and it could be none other than the Chevrolet Chevelle Supersport of 1970. This is not just a car, it is the ultimate expression of American power. 70 was the year General Motors lifted the ban on installing engines larger than 400 cubic inches in mid-size cars, and Chevrolet responded by launching the LS6 engine of 454 cubic inches. With 450 declared horsepower, although many claim the real figure was much higher, the 70 Chevelle instantly became the alpha predator of the streets. Its muscular lines design, its sport stripes on the hood, and its aggressive stance forever defined what the whole world understands as a high-power car. Selling a Chevrolet Chevelle Supersport of 1970 with the original 454 engine would be the biggest mistake of your life as a collector. This vehicle is the culmination of an era that will never return. It is the gold standard by which all other cars in its category are measured. The demand for these examples is insatiable worldwide, and prices have reached levels that place them in the category of high-end luxury assets. But beyond the money, the 70 Chevelle offers an incomparable emotional connection. It is the sound of thunder under your feet. It is the smell of gasoline and burnt rubber. It is the feeling of having total control over a force of nature. It is, without a doubt, the best car of the 70s that you can have in your garage. Looking back and observing these 10 colossuses that we have covered, it is clear that the decision to keep a vehicle from this era goes far beyond financial logic. Yes, it is true that we are dealing with some of the tangible assets that have best appreciated in recent decades. While paper money loses value and digital markets fluctuate, these structures of steel and chrome remain firm, gaining prestige with each passing year. They are, in effect, one of the smartest ways to protect wealth, as their scarcity only increases and global demand is increasingly fierce.